3 months ago, Jake Miller was sleeping inside a freezing Honda Civic behind a Walmart parking lot in Dallas, Texas. Tonight, 20,000 people were standing and cheering his name. But to understand how he got there, you have to go back to the worst night of his life. Jake was 29 years old. He worked as a sales manager for a logistics company. Nothing glamorous, but it paid the bills. Life felt normal, safe. Until one Tuesday morning, everything collapsed. Security guards were standing near the entrance. The CEO walked out and said the words nobody expected. "We're shutting down." Just like that, Jake lost his job. At first, he wasn't worried. But weeks passed, then months. Hundreds of applications, no replies, rejection after rejection. Soon, the pressure started affecting everything. Arguments with Emily became constant. One night, she looked at him and quietly said, "I don't think I can do this anymore." 2 weeks later, Jake missed his rent payment. On a cold November evening, the apartment manager taped an eviction notice to his door. Jake packed whatever he could fit into his old Honda Civic: a few clothes, a blanket, a laptop, and the last photograph of him and Emily together. That night, he parked behind a Walmart supercenter off Interstate 30. At first, he told himself it was temporary, just a few nights. But days turned into weeks. Every night followed the same routine: recline the seat, wrap himself in a thin blanket, try not to think too much. Some nights were freezing. Some nights he barely slept because of anxiety. But the hardest part wasn't the cold. It was the shame. Jake stopped answering calls, stopped looking people in the eyes. Every morning, he walked into Planet Fitness just to shower and pretend he still had a normal life. One afternoon, while sitting alone outside Walmart, an older man sat beside him. He looked around 60. At first, neither spoke. Then the man asked, "You living in there?" Jake nodded slowly. The man smiled slightly. "Been there myself. Lost everything in '98. For the first time in weeks, Jake actually listened. Frank handed him a business card. "Be at this address tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. sharp. Don't waste this." That night, Jake sat inside his car staring at the card for an hour. Another part of him knew this might be his last chance. The next morning, he drove to Arlington before sunrise. The warehouse looked old. Inside, workers were loading trucks with concert equipment. The job was brutal, heavy lifting, long hours. But Frank paid him cash at the end of the first day. Jake almost cried holding the envelope for the first time in months. He felt useful again. Days turned into weeks. Jake became the first to arrive and the last to leave. He learned everything: lighting systems, audio setup. Frank noticed. Eventually, he promoted him. 1 year later, a massive country music festival in Dallas. 20,000 people. Stage lights filled the night sky. Frank walked over and handed Jake a headset. "Come with me." Jake stared at the thousands of people cheering, and suddenly, he remembered those freezing nights inside his car. The loneliness, the hopelessness. Frank leaned closer. Funny how life works sometimes. Jake's eyes filled with tears because someone believed in him when he had stopped believing in himself. Sometimes rock bottom introduces you to the people who change your life forever. Lesson of the story: never underestimate the power of kindness, second chances, and believing in yourself when nobody else does. Subscribe to Echoes of Life, more stories that stay with you, coming soon.